All right, guys, so after the state land closed, where I had all them big bucks on camera, I was kind of at a loss. I had a few decent bucks in the hunting club that I had marked, but I think most of them died actually, and it was getting into gun season a good piece, and I really didn't know where to go to get after a big one because I had already killed quite a few small ones, so I wasn't really worried about just killing a deer. So I was on the look for a big one. All four of my cameras were out, and they were getting nothing but small ones and does. So I just did what I do when I get into a situation like that is I just go find me a place that I haven't run a camera in, and it has big buck potential. Like there's areas that I know, especially from hunting around here my whole life, just there should be a big one in there. No, there ain't always one in there. A lot of times there ain't, but I can go check it out, see what the sign looks like, find a good spot to climb, and this was one of them. Actually, this place is a huge swamp, and I've always wanted to hunt in there, and I've never been able to go in there. I mean, I could put a pair of waders on and wade in there, but honestly, I don't know how deep that swamp is. But this year, it is bone dry. Everything is bone dry. I have not seen a drop of water anywhere in the entire club or in the state land unless I walk up to the river. So I decided to go to that place that I wanted to hunt before and just walk in, and that's where the video starts. Well, we've barely even made it in here. Already got a buck rub. Now that ain't no crazy buck rub, but let me show y'all. This is what kept me out of this place in the past. This is usually like knee-deep water. So I guess I could wear waders in here when the water's high, but we're gonna see what it looks like while it's dry anyways. There's an old logging trail cutting through here. Trees all the way across it, and very muddy, so I wouldn't really walk down it, but I can tell I definitely won't be coming in this place with high water, even with waders. But I've been seeing some good trails cutting all through this swamp, but I can't tell if it's hogs or deer. There's a bunch of deer tracks in this mud right here, mixed in with hog and raccoons, tons of raccoons, but a good bit of deer tracks. So it tells me that there's quite a bit of deer in here. Some of these places like this don't hold a lot of deer, but we already seen some buck sign and quite a bit of deer tracks. So looks like there's a high hill over there. It's like a pine hill. We're gonna go check it out. Guys, I hit an open area on this high hill, and look at this. Rub, fresh scrape, been used recently. I think we found us a pretty sweet spot right here. All right guys, look. I hit some pines, and you can't get to these pines. I've seen them on the map, and this is where I was headed, but there's a high hill right there in the swamp. It shoots out into the swamp off of these little pines. The only way to get to these pines was to walk through the swamp. So that was a dreadful walk, guys. If there was any water in there, it would have been terrible. I was sinking in the mud, and it's pretty much dry. So, but when I got to the edge of the pines, the buck sign is insane. I done showed you that scrape over there with the rub next to it. Walked 20 yards, found another scrape. We in a sweet spot. I'm gonna show you that hill in just a second. Guys, just look at this. This is the last thing I expected to find when I was coming to this hill in the map. And all that buck sign that runs down the edge of the pines is coming from our left right there. Leads right up into here. And then there's more rubs. They run right down the middle of this and go that way. We are in a beautiful spot. We got a swamp surrounding us all the way around this way. And it's nice to have, that's a thick swamp. Man, I wish it wasn't the only way in here, because I'm gonna have to walk back out. I ain't gonna be able to hunt this afternoon, but I'm gonna come back in the morning. It's gonna be 36 degrees in the morning, so I think the deer should be moving, and by the looks of this, we should see a buck. See y'all then. This is a really pretty spot, guys. It is 36 degrees right now, and I think the deer are gonna start moving because the cameras wasn't going off last night. They went off a little bit after dark, like 7, 8 o'clock, but then nothing else. So I feel like they're gonna move good this morning. If not, I am hunting a couple more days in a row, and this is where I'm gonna be. I expected to be hunting this hill, but I expected it to be thick, because most of the time I walk through a swamp and get up on a hill. It's vines and everything else, but this is wide open and pretty right here. I think we're in a really good spot. I keep hearing acorns drop. I've heard them. I've been here about 30 minutes, and they just been pelting the ground, so it's a good feeding spot. Let's wait for something to happen. Alright guys, somehow I haven't seen anything all morning. It was a very pretty morning, and it was cold too. None of the cameras went off, so I guess they just didn't move this morning. Maybe it shocked them a little bit. dropping so drastically overnight like it did, but we gotta hunt a couple more mornings, and it's gonna be just as cold in the morning, so hopefully something happens then. All right, guys, it's getting good in daylight. This is morning number 3. This is actually the warmest morning we've had. The only thing I've seen in here so far was a doe, and that was yesterday morning when it was like 37 degrees. And she only walked out in one little open gap I could see down and stood there for a second and then went on about her business. So, not seeing a whole lot of deer here. They're definitely feeding here, though. I done a little loop around and put a camera out on that scrape I showed y'all yesterday. And this is the only place with acorns, so I might end up moving into the swamp a little bit where that big trail is. That's where that doe was headed, because they might just be feeding out here on these acorns at night. But we're gonna sit here one more morning at least. Hopefully something happens. I got a good shooter buck right here coming in. He came right by my camera. Looks like a good 8-point. I'm hoping he comes. Gives me a pretty clean shot. Beautiful buck. Smoked him, baby. Smoked him, baby. Look at that beauty right there, son. Do I need to shoot him again? No, he's going down. That is a tank, baby. Let's go. That is what I'm talking about, boys. He ran right under the stand and fell down, son. Let's go. Man, that is a beauty. Man, that's what we came in here for, baby. Let's go. We got to get down and look at him. That is what I'm talking about, boys. That is a stud of a Florida buck. That's why I came in here. And that is a big-bodied son of a gun. Not real great at aging him. He's got some sagging going on in his chest, and he's got a very large head. He's definitely got at least a little bit of age on him, and that is an awesome buck, man. I am super excited. I love this spot right here. Sitting here like 4 times already and not even seeing but one doe. I was kind of getting worried. I was sitting up there and my phone started vibrating. I pulled it out and this was standing in front of my camera, and my camera's right across where that scrape was. I just couldn't see it. I mean, it ain't 100 yards right there, but there's a bunch of bushes in the way, and I was just sitting there waiting patiently, and it took him 15 minutes before he turned and came straight to me. I was worried he was gonna go the other way, and I heard some footsteps and looked over, and I was like, there he is, baby. Let's go. I am super excited about this. That is an absolute beauty of a Florida buck. I'm gonna find a way to get into this spot not going through that swamp. There is pines on this side, but I think you still got to go through a little bit of swamp to get to those pines, because if it rains 1 or 2 inches, this spot is not going to be able to get to it without wearing waders. But if there's bucks like this in here next year, I'm going to come in here with a pair of waders. I love it. Hope y'all liked the video. Thank you for watching.